My name is Robert, and I'm 64 years old. When my son Michael presented me with a cruise, a gift meant for relaxation, I should have recognized the terrible secret hidden behind his smile. Returning home from my forgotten blood pressure medication, I overheard him on the phone with his wife Claire. His words froze my blood. "Don't worry, honey. It's a one-way ticket. When he's out at sea, it'll be easy to make it look like an accident. Nobody will suspect an old man who simply fell overboard." Standing behind my own front door, I drew a slow breath and thought, if that's how you want it, my dear son, have it your way. But you will regret it 3 times over. My only child, the boy I raised with so much love, had just made the worst mistake of his life. If Michael believed his father was a helpless old man, he was about to learn how wrong he was. A man of my age, who has fought his whole life, raised children, buried a wife, and survived betrayals, does not give up easily. If he wanted to play dirty, I would show him how it's truly done. But first, I needed to understand why my own son wished me dead. It had all begun 3 days earlier. Michael arrived at my house with a radiant smile I hadn't seen in years, clutching a gold-embossed envelope of the kind used by luxury travel agencies. "Dad," he said, hugging me with strange euphoria, "Claire and I have a wonderful surprise. You've worked so hard, sacrificed so much. We want to give you something special." Inside were tickets for a Caribbean cruise. 7 days sailing through crystal waters, visiting islands like the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos. It was the dream trip I'd always postponed. Money was always needed elsewhere, for Michael's education, bills, family emergencies. "Son, this must have cost a fortune," I said, staring at the first-class tickets. "Your happiness is priceless, Dad," Michael replied, his soft voice still able to melt my heart. "You deserve this. You need to relax, breathe the sea air." In 64 years, I've learned to trust my instincts. Something in his eyes, the way they avoided mine, told me there was more than he was sharing. But he was my son, the baby I'd carried through fevered nights, the boy I taught to walk, the young man I'd guided. I pushed my doubts aside. "When do I leave?" "The day after tomorrow. Everything's arranged. Just arrive at the port with your luggage. Claire handled all the details." That night, packing my suitcase, a strange unease lingered. Michael had been distant for months, fewer visits, sparse calls, and now this sudden, extravagant gift. I told myself it was an old man's paranoia, that maybe he truly wanted to repay my sacrifices. On departure day, I rose early, finished packing, and then realized I'd left my medication in the bathroom cabinet. I returned home, opening the door quietly, and that's when I heard Michael's voice from the living room. "Yes, Claire. He's left for the port." "No, he doesn't suspect a thing. The plan is perfect." His tone was cold, utterly different from the caring one he used with me. I stood motionless, the floor seeming to vanish beneath me. "Dad's life insurance is $200,000, he continued. "With the house, another $300,000 at least. Enough to clear my debts and start fresh." My heart stalled. My son was discussing my death like a business transaction. "Don't worry, honey. A man his age, at sea, these things happen. No one will ask questions. We'll be the perfect mourners, devastated children." Tears traced my cheeks, not from sorrow, but from a storm of anger, disappointment, and a fierce determination I hadn't felt in years. In that moment, I understood I'd raised a monster. To survive, I would have to be smarter. I slipped away silently, but my mind was already racing. I would board that ship, but now I knew each step carried me closer to danger. During the taxi ride to the port, watching my city blur past, I replayed our history. I, Robert Sullivan, had dedicated my life to being the perfect father. I married young, worked as an accountant for 15 years, saved every penny. When my wife died, Michael was only 12. I quit my job to care for him full-time, sold my car, pawned my watches, spent my savings to put him through Columbia University. While others my age traveled or socialized, I took freelance work to cover his expenses. I never complained. When he married Claire 5 years ago, I was elated. I dreamed of a larger family, grandchildren, gatherings filled with love. But Claire never liked me. I saw the disdain in her eyes, as if I were an obstacle to their perfect life. And Michael changed. Visits dwindled, excuses multiplied. Now, in the taxi, the signs I'd ignored were clear. The heated phone call about money 6 months ago when I'd arrived unannounced. Claire's remark to a friend about how nice it would be if her father-in-law didn't live so close. I'd always made excuses for them. Now the truth hit like a slap. This was no impulse. It was a cold, calculated plan. The ship loomed at the port, a 12-story white giant. Hundreds of joyful passengers boarded. According to my son's plan, I would not be among those returning alive. But as I wheeled my suitcase toward the gangway, a smile touched my lips. Michael's fatal error was underestimating me. He mistook a lifetime of quiet sacrifice for weakness. What he didn't know was that through all those years of silent observation, I had been learning, storing knowledge. I was not the naive old man he believed. The attendant checked my documents with a professional smile. "Your first cruise, Mr. Sullivan? How exciting." "Yes, a gift from my son. He said I need to relax." "What a thoughtful son," she remarked. If she only knew, I thought. He plans for these to be my last 7 days. As I boarded, I began formulating my strategy. I had 1 week to turn from prey to hunter, 1 week to gather evidence, to prepare my surprise for Michael. My cabin was on the 8th deck, sea view, elegant, with a private balcony. Michael had booked the best, likely thinking a balcony made disappearance simpler. I set my suitcase down and sat to think. I needed a plan, allies, and proof. Knowing the truth was not enough. I had to prove it. I took out my phone and dialed a number I'd saved months before. Frank Harrison, a private detective I'd met through a neighbor. "Detective Harrison? This is Robert Sullivan. We met at the Hope Community Center." "I remember, Mr. Sullivan. How can I help?" "I need to hire you. My son is trying to kill me." A pause. "These are serious accusations. Are you certain?" "Absolutely. I heard him planning it. I'm on a cruise he expects to be my final trip. I need you to investigate his finances, his debts, everything, and help me gather evidence." "Where are you now?" "On the Star of the Sea, departing for the Caribbean. I'll be at sea for 7 days. When I return, I need all the information you can find on my son, Michael Sullivan." "Understood. I'll text my details for a retainer. And Mr. Sullivan, be careful. If this is true, you're in real danger." "Detective, I've lived 64 years. I've survived poverty, widowhood, and raising a son alone. I won't let him defeat me now." After hanging up, I felt a mix of fear and resolve. The ship began to move, each mile from shore bringing me closer to Michael's planned execution. But he didn't know his father. I wasn't the fragile man he imagined. My first task was to learn the ship, every corner, exit, and blind spot. I walked the corridors, noting security cameras in public areas, but none on the private balconies, including mine. Michael had chosen well.
In the main restaurant at lunch, I noticed a man my age dining alone. Silver hair, an elegant blue suit, an air of quiet strength. Our eyes met, and he offered a cordial smile. I approached. "Mind if I join you? I hate eating alone." "Please," he said warmly. "I'm Carl Anderson from Denver." "Robert Sullivan, Chicago." Over lunch, I learned Carl was also a widower, had raised children alone, and was on his first real vacation in decades. His children had insisted, he said. "Same here," I replied. "My son Michael gave me this cruise, said I needed to get away." Carl studied me. "You seem tense, Robert. Not the usual vacation demeanor." For a moment, I considered confiding in him, but caution held me back. "First cruise jitters, I suppose." He nodded, though his eyes told me he sensed more. "I've lived 62 years, he said, leaning slightly closer. "I recognize when a man is in trouble. If you need to talk or need help, my cabin is 1247 on deck 12. Don't hesitate." I felt a genuine warmth I hadn't known in months. A stranger offered more sincere support than my own son had in years. "Thank you, Carl. I'm in 847 on deck 8. Ship neighbors." That afternoon, I used the ship's internet cafe to email Detective Harrison. "On board safely. Focus on gambling debts. Have a potential ally here. We'll stay in touch." Next, I visited the casino, not to gamble, but to understand the desperation that could drive someone to murder. Watching the players, their euphoria and despair, I understood Michael wasn't just ungrateful. He was a desperate man seeing my death as his financial solution. At dinner, Carl found me again. "Robert," he said, sitting down, "I've been thinking. You don't seem like a man on vacation. You seem like a man running from something, or planning something." I weighed my words. "Carl, have you ever discovered that someone you love deeply has betrayed you in the worst way?" His eyes softened. "Yes, my business partner. Embezzled for years, nearly bankrupted us." "What did you do?" "What I had to. Gathered evidence, confronted him, made sure he paid." He paused. "We're talking about your son, aren't we?" I took a breath. I needed an ally. "Carl, my son is trying to kill me. I have 7 days to stop him and prove it." Carl's expression shifted, not surprise, but the solemn understanding of a man who knows families harbor dark secrets. "Tell me everything," he said quietly. For the next 40 minutes, I did. The gift, the phone call, the suspected debts, the insurance, the inheritance. Carl listened without interruption. "This is serious," he said finally. "You're in danger, but I see you're forming a plan." "I've hired a detective, but I need concrete evidence, recordings, witnesses." "You want to record his calls?" Carl deduced. "Yes, but I can't do it alone. I need someone credible without a connection to Michael." "Count on me," Carl said without hesitation. "But consider this. If Michael plans an accident on board, he may have an accomplice here, crew or passenger. You must be alert. Don't trust anyone but me.
Don't be alone in isolated places, especially your balcony. I've thought about the balcony. Then let me suggest something. Stay in my cabin at night. I have a suite with a sofa bed. If someone comes for you, they won't find you. Carl, I can't ask you to risk yourself. Robert, I'm 62. I raised 4 children, buried a wife, ran a company for 30 years. I'm not afraid of a spoiled brat willing to kill his father for money. He smiled slightly. Besides, it's been a while since I've had a real adventure. That night, Carl helped me move essentials to his cabin. As we settled, he asked about Michael's character, his relationship with Claire. Was Michael always manipulative? Clever, even as a child. But I thought it was normal cunning. I never imagined this.
And Claire? She never liked me. Always complained about money, bigger house, better vacations. Michael always promised more. Now I know where that money was supposed to come from. Around 10, my phone rang. Michael. Carl readied his own phone to record. Remember, he whispered, make him talk. Lead him to betray himself. I answered, Hello, son. Hi, Dad. How's the cruise? Having fun? His voice was perfectly caring. Had I not overheard him, I'd have believed it. Beautiful ship. My cabin's comfortable. Thank you for this generous gift. You deserve it. Met anyone? A kind gentleman named Carl. We've been dining together. A slight pause. That's good, but be careful. Sometimes people take advantage of older passengers. Carl's eyes widened. Michael was already casting doubt on any potential ally. Don't worry, I'm cautious. How are things there? How's Claire? All good. Claire sends her love. She hopes you're relaxing completely. Michael, why this gift now? It was so sudden. Another pause, longer. Claire and I talked. You seemed tired, stressed. We thought you needed a break, to get away from everything. Get away from everything, I repeated, glancing at Carl. Yes, sometimes we need to disconnect completely, right? I suppose. Michael, can I confess? I felt guilty accepting something so expensive. Dad, don't worry about money. It's an investment in your well-being. That's priceless. Carl wrote on a notepad, Ask about return. A silly question. Do you have a copy of my return ticket? My documents only show one way. Silence. So long I thought the call had dropped. Michael? Yes, sorry. Claire was saying something about the tickets. Don't worry, the travel agency has it all handled. Just enjoy the trip. We'll manage the details. But I want to be sure I can get home. Could you check with them tomorrow and confirm? Dad, trust me. Everything is perfect. Just relax and enjoy. That's the whole point. Okay, son. I trust you completely. Perfect. Love you, Dad. Sweet dreams. Love you too, Michael. Good night. Carl and I sat in silence afterward. Robert, Carl finally said, his evasion about the return ticket, his reassurance not to worry, he's keeping you in false security. And asking if you'd made friends, he's scouting to see if you have allies who'd notice your absence. Exactly. Tomorrow we visit the ship's office to check my ticket status ourselves. The next morning, after breakfast in Carl's cabin, we went to the passenger services desk. The agent, Patricia, typed my name and frowned. Mr. Sullivan, I see your 7-day cruise, but no return flight is booked. Usually our packages include round trip. My stomach clenched. Hearing it officially still hurt. What does that mean? Carl asked. It means when the cruise ends, you have no booked way home. Possibly a system error, or perhaps the purchaser intended to add it later. Who purchased it? I asked, already knowing. Michael Sullivan with his credit card. A relative? My son. I'm sure he'll arrange it, but I'd contact him soon. Flights from Miami fill quickly. She checked her computer. I can book you a return flight now for $750, leaving Saturday at 3. I'll take it, I said, handing over my card. As we left, Carl whispered, "First concrete evidence, Robert. He never intended for you to return." On deck, walking near the railings, I couldn't enjoy the beautiful day. My phone buzzed, a text from Michael. "Good morning, Dad. Sleep well?" I showed Carl. He's checking if I'm in my cabin. I replied, "Slept well. On deck sunbathing. Ship is wonderful." Almost immediately, "That's good. Enjoy. Explored the whole ship yet?" "Why does he care how much I've explored?" I muttered. "Not yet. Very big. Saw restaurants and casino yesterday. Pool and spa today." "Perfect. Just be careful near railings. People can get seasick, lose their balance." Carl paled. "Robert, he just suggested how you'll die, an accident near the railings." "I know. He's planting the idea." I texted back, "Don't worry, I'm careful. Always stay back from edges." "That's what I hope. Love you and want you back safe and sound." The irony twisted inside me. That afternoon by the pool, I noticed a man in his 40s at the bar, wearing a green shirt and long pants, odd attire for the poolside. He watched us intently. "Carl, the man in green at the bar, he's watching me." Carl glanced over. "I see him. Let's test it. Walk toward the elevators. I'll watch if he follows." I did. As the elevator doors closed, I saw him heading my way. I rode to deck 12, Carl's deck. 15 minutes later, Carl returned to the cabin. "He followed you to the elevator, then took the next one up. He's definitely watching you." That evening, dining in Carl's cabin, my phone rang. Claire. Unusual. "Hi, Robert. It's Claire. How's the cruise?" "Beautiful, thank you." "Michael said you sounded happy. That's a relief." Carl started recording. "Claire, I went to the ship's office. They say I don't have a return ticket. Do you know about that?" A long pause. "How strange. Michael handled everything. Must be a system error. We'll fix it." "I already bought my own ticket to be sure." Another pause. "You didn't need to do that, Robert. We were going to take care of it." "I was worried about getting stranded." "Of course. Well, enjoy the rest. We'll see you when you're back." "Claire, before you go, what made you decide on this gift now?" "We noticed you seemed tired, stressed. Thought you needed an extended rest to disconnect from daily routine." The same rehearsed phrases Michael had used. After hanging up, Carl said, "She's clearly involved. She got nervous when you said you'd bought your own return." On the third day, Carl and I decided to confront the watcher, but safely, in public. We went to the casino. Carl's plan, he'd sit at a poker table near the entrance. I'd play slots, acting slightly drunk and vulnerable. It worked. Within 20 minutes, the man approached, now in a yellow shirt, but the same person. "Excuse me, sir. You all right? You seem tired." "Oh, yes," I slurred slightly. "Too many mimosas at breakfast. Vacation's going to my head." He smiled, eyes gleaming. "First cruise?" "Yes. My son's gift. Says I need to relax." "Thoughtful. Is he on board too?" "No, back in Chicago. Just me." He nodded. "Explored the whole ship?" "Almost. Was on the upper deck at sunset yesterday. Beautiful, but scary being so close to the water. Scary? Why? I'm clumsy. Always afraid I'll get too close to the railings. With the ship rocking, a fall would be so easy. His expression shifted subtly, valuable information received. You're right to be careful, especially at night. Decks get slippery. Really? Then I'd better stay in my cabin after dinner. What deck is your cabin on? There it was. Deck 8, 847. Has a balcony, but I'm afraid to lean over. He smiled, a chill-inducing smile. Well, enjoy the rest of your cruise. He left quickly, heading to a public phone. Carl followed discreetly. Returning to the cabin 15 minutes later, his face was urgent. Robert, he made a call. I heard clearly. Yes, he's in 847, deck 8 with balcony. Said he's afraid of the railings. Perfect for what we need. The air left my lungs. He's working with Michael. And now he knows where to find me and how to stage the accident. We get ahead of them, Carl said firmly. You won't set foot in your cabin again. You'll stay here. And tomorrow night, the captain's gala, we set a trap. Everyone will be at the party late. That's when they'll likely make a move. We'll notify security, catch him red-handed. That afternoon, planning our strategy, Michael called again. His voice was anxious. Dad, how's the cruise? Wonderful. New adventures every day. Still sleeping well in your cabin? No noise issues? Verifying if I was still using it. Perfectly quiet. Tomorrow's Thursday, the captain's gala, right? You going? Of course. My green suit is ready. Perfect. What time do those usually end? Collecting my schedule. Not sure. Probably after midnight. When it ends, go straight to your cabin to rest. Don't wander the decks at night. Can be dangerous. Carl's eyes widened. Michael had just given specific instructions to go to my cabin, exactly where someone would be waiting. Don't worry, son. I'll go straight to my room. Perfect. Love you. Sleep well. After hanging up, Carl said, He knows when the attempt will be. Tomorrow night, after the gala, he expects you alone in your cabin. Carl, I'm scared. This is getting very real. I know, but we're close to having all the evidence we need. One more night and we'll have enough to put Michael away for life. That night I couldn't sleep, but beneath the fear I felt a newfound strength. Michael had underestimated me completely. Thursday morning, Carl and I went to the captain. Captain John Peterson, a man in his 50s with a commanding presence, listened intently to our story, reviewed the recordings, heard about the watcher. Mr. Sullivan, he said gravely, this is extremely serious. You have my full support. We outlined our plan. I'd attend the gala, then hide with Carl while security watched my cabin. The captain added improvements, extra cameras, undercover agents nearby, a personal panic device for me. The gala was spectacular, but I couldn't enjoy it. I spotted the watcher at the bar, now in a white shirt and suit, eyes following me. Carl and I mingled, danced, pretended normality. At 12:15, a figure moved stealthily down the hall. The watcher, now in black gloves, holding something. He picked my cabin lock and entered.